What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at the last of the starter decks that are coming around for 6 starter decks we got coming. Yeah, last one of them. It is the Jewelry Bonney starter deck. Starter deck 24. It's got that Bonney, a reprint of the Bonney. The leader is not a new leader, it's one from OP07. And then we've got the usual deal, 9 reprints and 5 new cards, 2 of which are super rares. And weirdly in this deck, both of which are double characters. Cool. So I suppose we need to take a look at what's the deal with the reprints, what we've got, how good they are, and how good a job One Piece and Bandai have done making this lovely little deck. Because right now, according to Limitless TCG, this is the 6th best deck in the game right now. So how well have they done with the reprints? So if we start off with the leader then, it's a 5k, 5 life, mono green Bonney. And on your opponent's attack, once per turn, you can rest one of your Don to rest your opponent's leader or one of their characters. Basically, you get to take away an attack every turn. Okay, if they've got something that is active that they might want to attack. But you know what I mean. A lot of the time it's taken away an attack for the cost of 1 Don, which I think sounds okay by me. Now, in terms of the reprinted cards, we got Scratchman of Pooh from EBO1. 1 cost 1,000 power, counter plus 2k. And on play, you rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. This is pretty much a hard staple in the deck. You do see it as a 3 or 4 off pretty much all the time. So this is a good card to get reprinted in here. This one's very nice. And you get to rest a character, and it's got counter plus 2k. I am in. We've got the Arouge from OP07. 4 cost 5k, counter plus 1,000. And it's got blocker. And at the end of your turn, you set one of your Don cards to active, which is a great skill for a Bonney deck, because of course, you need to rest one of your Don to activate Bonney's skill, so you need an active Don on your opponent's turn. Having this at the end of your turn is awesome. This isn't generally a 4 of in Bonney, but it's about a 2 of a lot of the time. It is a card we see seeing play. We got the Caribou from OP07, 4 cost 5k, counter plus 1,000, and it's got blocker, and if you've got 6 or more rested Don, this character gains 1,000 power. So it's basically a 4 cost 6k blocker with counter plus 1,000. It's got vanilla stats plus blocker, as long as you've got 6 rested Don, which a lot of the time as you go through the game, you're absolutely going to have, which is lovely. This is not a card we generally tend to see played in Bonney at the moment, but do remember that we have these new cards coming in, and this is designed to be played as a deck out of the box, so sometimes you're adding in lesser played cards here because they fit the theme of the new cards or because they help to make the deck a bit more coherent. We got the Caribou from OP07. On play, you play a Caribou with a cost of 4 or less from your hand rested. And you can see where they're going here now with this. Having the pair of those available, it's not something we're going to see in most meta Bonney lists, but it is very cool having these as an option because you pay 3 and then you get this 3k and you get your Caribou blocker as well. Sounds like a plan to me. Now, there's a lot of blockers in this deck, more than we see in most of these. There's 4 of them. And one of them is Bartameo. The Bartameo from OP07. And what we got from the Bartameo here, aside from blocker, is on your turn, once per turn, if a character is rested by your effect, draw 1, trash 1. And we've got a lot of that in this deck. We've got a lot of resting our opponent's characters. So you know what? Yeah, this sounds pretty good. Again, it's a card we generally don't tend to see played in the meta Bonney list at the moment, but it certainly fits the theme of the deck. Now, we got the Luffy from OP07, 5 cost 6k, counter plus 1,000. But if you got 3 or more characters, your characters of a cost of 3 or less, other than Luffy, cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects. Well, I've shown you a couple of these already. And that includes your blocker Bartameo, which is honestly kind of a big deal. And then we've got a couple of the new cards which will fit in and get protected by this, and you add that all together, and this seems cool. This is a card we see played in Bonney, but it is more of an occasional tech than a staple. And then the last reprinted character we've got is Rowan Zoro, again from OP07. One cost 2k, counter plus 1000, but if you got 3 or more characters, you gain 2000 power during this term. But of course, you know, things like Korobu are going to help you get 3 or more characters out a lot more easily here. So you see where they're going. Again, it's not one we see in the current lists of the deck, but it's still pretty cool. What that means is that this is pretty different to what we see a lot of the time from Bonney decks right now. Doesn't mean it's bad, just means it doesn't necessarily match the meta deck as we know it at the moment. Okay. Now, there's also a couple of reprinted event cards here. We've got Demonic Aura 9 Sword Style Asura Demon 9 Flash. Nice and snappily titled. That is a 2-cost green event. Obviously green, they're all green here. And as a main, up to your leader or one of your characters gains 3k for the turn. And then you can rest one of your characters of a cost of 3 or more to rest one of your opponent's characters of a cost of 5 or less. And then as a trigger, you get to rest one of your opponent's characters of a cost of 4 or less. Lots of resting here, as you might expect. And then we got More Pizza, which is a 1-cost event. As a trigger, you draw a card, not terrible. But as a main, you look at 5 cards on the top of your deck, find a Supernova card other than More Pizza, and add it to your hand. It's your generic searcher. We don't have it on a character here, so we have it on an event. Now, in terms of new cards, we've got ourselves a Capone Gang Beige. Normally gets ridiculously good cards, and this one's pretty nice as well. 2 cost, 1000 power, counter plus 1000. This is our other blocker in the deck. There's 4 of them, you're going to be blocking a lot. But on play, if you got 6 or more rested cards, you draw one and trash one. So it's another way of cycling through your deck to draw the kind of things that you want. This seems like a good card. Now, the new super rare, the one we haven't even seen hinted at in magazines, etc., is Kid and Killer. 2 cost, 2000 power, counter plus 1000. But on play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find a Supernova and add it to your hand. So they did give us a generic searcher, but instead of being an older card, it was a new card. But then on your opponent's attack, you can trash this character to set one of your Don to active. And this is awesome. Because generally speaking, your generic searcher, you play it down to grab a character. And then it's served its usefulness. You don't really need it anymore then. And it's just sitting on your board, taking up room, waiting to be replaced by another character. So here you trash it, set one of your Don to active, and would you believe it, that just means that you'll definitely have a Don for Bonney's leader skill. Very good card in Bonney decks, works perfectly. Speaking of which, Basil Hawkins, 4 cost 4k, counter plus 2000, and at the end of your turn, you set one of your Don to active. Well, it's a Supernova, so both your searcher cards will be able to search it to give you that 2k counter, and you set a Don to active at the end of your turn, which of course will be able to activate your Bonney skill, and we've seen a couple of other cards that will do that as well. And basically, one of the things they're doing with this starter deck is trying to make sure you don't need to save a Don on your turn. Something is going to give you an active Don at the end of your turn that you can then use to guarantee your Bonney skill will work. Now, Law and Beepo we did see in a magazine the other day, but this is just redonkulous. Firstly, this is a cool looking card. But we got a 10k, 11 cost character, and on play you rest one of your opponent's characters that will then not become active during your opponent's next refresh phase, so not just resting a character but taking them out for 2 turns. And then, if your opponent's got 2 or more rested characters, your leader gets a 2k bump until the end of your opponent's next end phase. Well, they're going to have 1, because you've played this. And honestly, Bonney's probably rested 1 as well. So if they've got 2 characters out, they really should have 2 rested characters. And then you get a 2k bump to your leader for your opponent's next turn. Meaning, well, I mean, on your turn as well, so you'll still get your 7k leader to attack with. But then also on your opponent's turn, they're going to have an extra 2k just to try and attack your leader. That's a good thing. I love this card. This card is brilliant. And then we got X-Drake, 5 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 2k. It's a Supernova, so it's another searchable 2k counter, which is lovely. Not that many in the deck, there's only 2. That's literally it. There is a lot of blocker though, so that does help to offset. And then on play, if your leader has a Supernova type, which it does, rest one of your opponent's characters of a cost of 5 or less, and then set one of your Don cards active at the end of this turn. Yeah, we've got a bunch of cards that are going to set Don active at the end of your turn. Bonney's skill should fire, and honestly, you should have some leftovers for your events as well. Plus, you've also got your counter plus 2k, and you're resting a 5 cost or lower. Add that all up, and this seems like another very strong card. So there we go. That's the whole deck. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Let me know what you think about this deck in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy. That's where we talk about One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join the Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.